Hello! Today I'm going to show you how to make a fleece-tied blanket. Have you ever wanted to give someone a really thoughtful gift, but maybe you weren't so crafty, maybe you never learned how to sew or crochet, or maybe you just don't have hours to make something yourself that you would think would be special? I have the perfect solution for you. Today we're going to make a fleece-tied blanket. It is really easy, it's simple and cheap, and a few years ago, I actually made a fleece-tied blanket for my boyfriend as a birthday gift, and I've also received a blanket as a gift from an aunt, and who wouldn't want a blanket as a gift? They're easy to store and they're useful, and this is what it's going to look like when you're done. It's a double-sided blanket, and all it is tied fringe. So, I'm going to explain a few steps on how to set the blanket up, how to measure it, how to tie it. So let's begin. Step one is to gather all your materials. So what you're going to need is a Sharpie to mark where you need to measure, a pair of scissors. They can be fabric scissors or just regular scissors, whatever cuts well. And you also need a ruler to measure. And you need 2 pieces of fleece, and make sure they are equal sizes, so a yard, or it can be more, it can be 2 yards, however big you want to make the blanket. This is going to make a small blanket, maybe for a child or a pet. So let's move on to the next step. You are going to lay your blanket out on a flat surface. I'm using the floor of my bedroom. And you want to match the corners up. Make sure they're even, so when you cut, each side gets cut evenly. Once you've done that, you want to smooth it out. Just don't pull on the fabric too much because it does stretch and it'll stretch the fabric out. Once you've smoothed it out and matched all the sides up, you are ready to measure. You're going to take your ruler and you're going to measure a 4x4 square in each corner of the blanket. So go ahead and do that. Once you've measured your square and you've drawn it out, just take your scissors and cut. And whenever you mark your lines, make sure that you are cutting over the line so the fabric doesn't have the Sharpie marks on it. Okay. So once you've cut your corner out, you are ready to actually make your fringe marks. So if your corner cut is a 4x4 square, you are going to do your fringe 4 inches deep into the blanket. So what I like to do is take it and match it up with that square that you cut and just make a line, make a dot about a ruler's length down, and then do another ruler's length down and make a dot, and do that all the way down the blanket, and go back and draw a nice straight line with your straight edge so you know exactly how deep you need to cut each piece of fringe. So I've already made the line, so once you do that, you're going to take your scissors and you're going to cut. Make sure your fringe is at least 1 inch thick. You don't want it too thin, it'll be too flimsy, but you don't want it too thick because it'll come unknotted easier. So take your scissors, you can eye it or you can measure 1 inch. I just like to eye it. It doesn't have to be completely perfect. Once you tie it, you won't really notice if it's not all the same length. So just cut your piece of fringe all the way down. Like this. So I have 2 pieces of fringe. Make sure your blanket stays lined up. And after you've cut the fringe all the way down on each side of your blanket, you are ready for the last step, which is to tie it. So to tie the fringe, it's really simple. All you do is you take the blue piece and the paw print piece, and you just tie a knot. I like to tie it and then pull outward, and then make one more knot. Tie it, pull outward, make sure it's really tight, and then you can do it again. Do it to the next piece, tie it, and you're just going to tie it all the way down, all the way around. And after you tie it, you're done. You can wrap a bow around it, tie it up, put a gift tag in. That's it. It's perfect gift. Just really simple, cheap. It cost me about $8 to make it. Just remember that you can use any pattern you want. You can use any colors. My favorite thing to do is a pattern in a plain color. Looks best to me. And just remember, you need a ruler, scissors, Sharpie, and fabric at least a yard, and you want them to be equal sizes. After that, you just measure, mark, cut, and tie. Make sure you double knot it, and that's it.